Thought I would try it again. I think the last time I went live, I didn't have sound or anything, and so everything went haywire. So, if anybody does come in, can you please just put a one up or something telling me that I do have sound? And if I don't have sound, please tell me. Just wanted to give a few updates. I am now in Jerome, Idaho. I'm doing DoorDash. The question I have is for those that are in or near Moscow, Idaho, or Pullman, Washington. I plan on staying in Moscow, Idaho, and Pullman, Washington, probably until December. Um, so I'm really trying to find out like what delivery places y'all use. Like I was doing Spark, which does Walmart, and y'all know that I lost that because of my dogs. But I tried Shipped, and Shipped is not in that area, and I'm on the waiting list for Instacart, and so I was trying to find out what other delivery places or anything like that y'all have, because with me staying from October, November, and part of December, I'm going to need some steady income. Hey Jeff, how are you doing? Do I have sound? Please say you can hear me. The last time I went live, nobody could hear me. See, I'm on the waiting list for Instacart because I plan on staying about 2.5 months in Moscow because of everything I want to get done and everything. Plus, I want to be there through November the 13th um, because I'm hoping November the 13th we will be breaking ground on Murphy's Dog Park. So that's what I'm hoping for. So, Jeff, I got my confirmed interview with the Executive Director of Communications for the University of Idaho today, and Scott Green. Scott Green is actually traveling this week, so it will be Julie and me in person on a Zoom, which I'm good with that, And the thing about it is, really, if you stop and consider, I'm a stranger. They don't know me from anybody. And if I was Scott Green, I probably wouldn't just be saying, hey, yeah, I'm going to meet this crazy lady that's driven 3,000 miles. you know, I mean, I could be some crazy assassin or something. So doing it on Zoom to me is just as good. It still puts it in front of him. It still lets me give him my idea and everything. So I'm not upset at all over. I'll be sitting there in person, executive communication, the executive director of communications. So, to me, it's a win. And I've had several people send me messages, and they're like, "Okay, well, I hope that when you do these interviews, because I actually heard back with from Chief Dollinger today, New York Tyrant Hunter." What is this about? I don't even know who this is. It's probably one of those trolls or something that we all laugh about. But anyway, my thing is that this is not about the case. This is not about guilt or innocence. This is about those left behind. This is about the effect that something like this has on a sleepy community with, college town that leaves their doors unlocked and is a safe place. And the effect that something like this has on the first responders, like that, And it's not on guilt or innocent, because the way I look at it is he pled, he's in prison, he's not asking anybody to fight for him. I'm not fighting for him. And the way I look at it is that needs to be played out in the courts and stuff like that. And my focus is more going to be on those left behind and those that's left to pick up the pieces after something like this happens. So, as far as a point of view, because, like I said, I've had several requests that when I meet with Chief Dollinger or meet with Scott Green, that my questions will be 360 point of view. Well, they will be 360 point of view, but it will be from a chief of police of how it affected him, how it affected him with his kids, him with his family, his friends, how it affected him as a man, how it affected him as a person, you know, and that kind of stuff. So, as far as a 360 point of view, it will be individualized to the person I'm speaking to because it's not about the case anymore, if that makes sense. Um, as far as Murphy's Dog Park, the way I have presented Murphy's Dog Park is totally 100% public relations. The U of I through all of this is pretty hated and pretty doubted, and they're involved, or they did that, or they covered up this, or they covered up that, and all this. And so, my approach was, let's involve the community. Let's do something that's going to help your community heal. And it's also going to remember that property, but not with a big plaque or not with a big memorial garden or anything like that. We can remember that property with Murphy's Dog Park, where the dogs can run and play, and people can smile and play with their dogs and have some kind of happy memories instead of looking at a solemn memorial. So, oh, I'm going to get to meet Murphy. I'm definitely going to meet Murphy. I will be there for the groundbreaking. And even if I don't get it built at 11:22, it will be built. I'm not worried about that. I've got enough contacts right now that I'm meeting with. Because we're talking about recycling tires and using the tires to build, for the dogs to play on with sand and stuff. Using construction barrels and painting them and burying them enough to where they can run through the construction barrels. Using pallets. These are things that some of the communities get rid of that they have to pay fees to get rid of. Well, we can take them off their hand and we can put them to good use. So if I go in and I speak to the U of I with a solution in mind instead of, well, hey, I want to build a dog park, but here it is in your lap. Instead, I go in there and it's like, okay, look, I know that the property of 1122 King Road is pretty much solid going to be for Greek Row. We know that all the properties around it is for the Greek Row expansion strategy. I'm good with that. But for a Greek Row expansion strategy, a lot of those kids are going to have dogs. So let's have a solution, bring the community together, and we don't have to worry about getting the supplies to build it because we're going to get that donated. Now, who's going to do the upkeep? That's an easy one. We're going to get Sigma Chi and the Betas to do the upkeep to honor their brother and their sisters. That would be something that Greek Row gets involved in and gives them some pride in saying, this is Murphy's Dog Park. This is how we recognize and we honor our brother and our sisters. Oh, wow. That would be awesome. I still think we ought to make Coburger's restaurant and have, like fries, FRYS's, and all those different kind of burgers. No, sorry. But, I think it can work, Jeff. I really do. If I didn't feel good about it, I would not have made a 3,000-mile trip. So, that's that's how solid I feel about it. And the thing about it, Jeff, is the way I look at it is if I'm doing it for the right reason, with the right heart, with the right purpose, how can it go wrong? If you're doing it for the good, and if you're doing it for the memory And for the, here's the thing about it is those left behind, I started, Kylie, why are you laughing? Coburger restaurant. Well, I mean, just think of it. We're going to do a Coburger and fries, FRY apostrophe S. I thought Kylie was laughing at my idea. Yeah, I think we ought to all pool our money together and open a Co-Burgers burger. We'll have furry burgers and all prices slashed and fries and all kinds of stuff. No, really, y'all, that's terrible. I shouldn't say stuff like that. Hey, Sirius. Okay, Sirius is in the corner. She is in timeout. She has been gone for a month and has made me worry sick about her. And no, it has not been it's been more than a few days, which makes it feel like a month without Sirius. So, let's see. How's everybody doing? Because I am so far behind. I've been watching some of these crazy ass videos. I mean, no, not laughing at you. Right. Yeah, the Cold Burger. See? Cold Burger restaurant. That's what I think. Do not go and get a cold burger and fries. Oh, and the good thing about it is Daniel from Drunk Turkey has actually talked to the G's. And from what I understand, everybody is in support of Murphy's Dog Park. And, I mean, y'all, come on. Does anybody. Hey, the prayer card that Chief Fry sent me pictures of is called The Police Officer's Prayer to St. Michael. I will have to look that up. I will definitely have to look that up. As a matter of fact, I'm screenshotting this. So I will know to look it up. Okay. So November the 13th, y'all know, is the 3-year anniversary. I'm hoping to be breaking ground on Murphy's Dog Park. If not, I have a guy that, I mean, he's got a lot of followers. He's not a signed person, but he's definitely known that I've been talking to about doing a concert. And that's another thing that I'm actually going to talk about is how they always said that 1122 was like an amphitheater? And I don't know if y'all know this, but I used to promote bands and I used to put on concerts. And so when I looked at it after, I went and looked at the pictures after the house was torn down, and sure enough, it's a perfect place for an amphitheater. And no, I'm not saying put an amphitheater there. But I actually thought about seeing if he would come and play. Even if they wouldn't let us play at 112 King Road, we might could play on Banfield or something like that and do some kind of memorial concert, a free concert or something like that. So that's one of the reasons that I'm staying for a couple of months is there's a lot of things that I want to do concerning this case that doesn't have anything to do with guilt or innocence. It doesn't have anything to do with research. It doesn't have anything. Y'all, I haven't cracked open the first document. And Kylie and Jeff, y'all know how I was about the research. I mean, I took great pride in the research. And I'm not saying that the research is not still important. It's just, it seems like to me that since he pled, it seems like it got crazier. I mean, some of the stuff I can't even stomach to watch. Check and see if that. But I'm sure it is. I'm absolutely sure it's still just laying right there where they dropped it. You know what, Jeff? That's absolutely right. He did not have to respond. And that's one of the things that a lot of people forget about is I think that one of the responding first responders, if I'm not mistaken, old. And I can't even imagine being 22 years old and walking into something like that. And that when I meet with Chief Dollinger, that's what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the crime scene. I don't want to talk about anything like that. I don't want to talk about evidence. I don't want to talk about anything. I want to know how he dealt with the days after that day. That's what I want to know. After November the 13th, when you walked into that house, I don't want to know what you saw. I don't want to know, you whatever you want to tell, that's fine, but I'm not going to question it. I want to know his feelings and how he dealt with it going on 3 years later. Because I've heard that some of them had to go to counseling, and the PTSD from it. And if you think about it, even, because Those Left Behind was started because of my son overdosing on meth. And if you think about it, nobody ever thinks about those first responders that go out there and try to save these overdose victims and how it affects them mentally, physically, psychologically, emotionally, to lose as many as they lose and not be able to save their lives. Nobody thinks about that. You know, when my son died, I didn't think about the doctors, the nurses. I didn't think about the people that sit there and tried to resuscitate him, and stuff like that. I wasn't worried about them. I was worried about my son. I mean, oh, thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been trying. 3,000 miles. I mean, I'm down to like, I think I did it. It's like maybe 489 miles, and I mean, my stomach's already like excited, and it's an excitement that is not excited like, ooh, let's go to the ball game, but it's the emotional excitement of it. And I know as soon as I hit Moscow, Idaho, I'm probably just going to be in tears. I mean, hey PKC, oh Doodlebug, hey Doodlebug, I'm on a 3,000 mile trip, Doodlebug. I started in Alabama and I am now in Jerome, Idaho, headed to Moscow, Idaho. So, and it's for a definite purpose that I believe in. It's And the thing about it, y'all, is when I decided to do this, I never doubted it. I never said, am I crazy? What am I doing? Now, there were several times when I was sitting there with three blowouts, one right after the other, that I was saying, what made you think you could do this? Are you stupid? Are you crazy? But it always worked out. And that's the thing about it is when you're doing the right thing and you're on the right path, that devil's going to come in and that devil's going to try to F it up for you. And if you keep standing strong and you keep backing it up saying, no, I am on a purpose. I am on a mission. And you keep that one foot in front of the other. And the thing about it is I haven't been scared, y'all. I have camped in a tent. I have slept in the car. I mean, by myself with my two dogs, and y'all know my dogs are huge. Yes, I am in Idaho. I actually posted pictures and everything. Um, I've already been through Twin Falls, and I think the little town that I've been door dashing in right now is Jerome. And I think the last time I saw it was like 130 miles from Boise. I said, "Oh, Boise!" I saw a sign for Boise. And then there's the sign for Kuna, and I'm like, gee, there's Kuna. Maybe I should stop and wave. But, thank you, Kylie. PKC just spent a lot of money and didn't leave the property. Shoot, let me tell you, I have spent a fortune, and thankfully, people like y'all have made this happen. I mean, I haven't, heck, some people get a vape. Some people get their power bill paid. That's all well and good. You know, I think my post today was like, okay, y'all, I have been dry camping, and y'all, I didn't know that dry camping was a thing, and boondocking. And it's actually just like, these places out here, and it's totally legal, like in Idaho. At Cabela and Walmart, for instance, you can like camp in your car, and then they have these free campgrounds that actually have picnic tables and the fire pits, and you can stay for up to 5 days, you know. And I was like, y'all, for the first time in a long time, my son will be dead 6 years, October the 1st. And I can honestly say, since he died, this is the first time I've felt life inside me. I mean, like really living, not just existing, because there's a difference between existing and living. And, when Drunk Turkey and them gave me my tent and my care package, and, Gage and them have been awesome, Kylie, everybody. I can't even name the people that have been so awesome. And I'm not even looking at Chad. I'm just rambling my head off. Go see if you can visit him. When God's got you, you can't. Exactly, Jeff. And that's what I've been saying the whole time. I think I spent 3 days in the Love's parking lot with a blowout, because I knew that I had made my incentives for Spark. And so I knew that, because when you make incentives with Walmart, that comes in like on a weekly check. And I knew that was coming in. So I knew that if nothing happened, I did have that to fall back on. And y'all, it just so happened that the person that I called to do my tire that Saturday, the company's owner was in the recovery community. The Love's tire guy was in the recovery community. And the person that did the tire was in the recovery community. And they gave me 4 new tires for my car. I literally have 2 spare tires in my trunk. Oh, sorry. Whew. I mean, the blessings have been so huge. Let's see, the first blowout I had, my daughter was still with me. I hadn't dropped her off in Texas yet. And we had a spare, and she changed the tire and everything was good. The second blowout I had was the spare, which was a donut. I can't complain. It had been on there since Louisiana. I was on the side of the road. I called my roadside, service and everything. They sent the wrecker. And the wrecker wouldn't let the dogs in. And he drove off and left me on the side of the road with a flat tire. And it just so happened that a guy diagonally across the street was working on his lawnmower, and he heard the blowout. And he said that when he saw the wrecker pull up, he didn't pay no more attention. But then he saw the wrecker leave, and he saw my car still sitting there, so he drove down there. He took my wheel off. He took it in his pickup truck, got me a spare, came back, and put it on for me, and didn't charge me a dime. The third blowout is the one I just talked about, where I got 4 new tires. So you can't tell me that I'm not doing something that I'm supposed to be doing. Because if I wasn't doing something that God wanted me to be doing, He would be doing something to steer me in another direction instead of blessing me. And that's just the way I believe it. I mean, thank you, Kylie. Sorry, I get a little emotional over it. I mean, I'm not doing this. I mean, my channel, I think I've lost subscribers, but I don't care. I mean, it's not about the number of subscribers. It's not about the money. It's not about grifting. It's not about guilt or innocence. It's about doing something that I believe in and something that I want to do to help heal a community that went through one of the worst tragedies that they could ever imagine going through. And then being drugged through the mud like everybody in the whole community are just pieces of crap and set up somebody to take the fall. I found my purpose, Doodle. I sure did. I found my purpose. And my purpose, my gosh, I never knew that my purpose would be living in my car with my dogs. With no, I didn't have a family anyway. My family disowned me a long time ago when I was on drugs. And so, I didn't have family anyway. And I never thought I would leave Alabama because that's where my son's buried. And I sit there and I thought, you know what? David would not want me to stay somewhere that brought me such grief and anguish and death into my life. He would want me out living. He would want me out with a purpose and doing what I know needs to be done to, number one, give his death purpose, but to honor other people's death and to honor other people's memories. And that's what I feel like I'm doing. Down to honoring, Murphy. Nobody thinks about what that dog saw. Nobody thinks about what he heard, what he witnessed, what kind of trauma he has, what kind of PTSD he has, And you can't tell me that dogs don't have PTSD because if they didn't, if you're around a dog that's been hit, they wouldn't cower. That's part of PTSD. It's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. That's exactly right. Kylie, I sit there and I thought today, I said, I'm driving down the road and I'm in all those beautiful scenery and everything. And I'm like, I am in, I think at the time I was still in Utah. And no, I was coming through Moab or Moab. That's some hell of mountains there. But I was coming through there and it's sort of like that little nudge hits you that says, you're in Utah, Nena. What the hell? And I sit there and I thought, this is God's country out here. Look at these mountains. Look at this scenery. This is a gift from me seeing this. This is a gift from God, And the thing about it is I never dreamed in a million lifetimes that I would be out here doing this. I never dreamed that I would have the nerve. I would ever believe in myself enough to just pack it up and say, I'm doing it, And so, oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Free bird, exactly right, Doodlebug. Exactly. And I was telling them that David died October the 1st in 2019. And in 6 years, this is the most alive that I have felt. And I can feel his spirit inside me. I can feel David pushing me to keep going, Mama. Keep going, Mama. You got this, Mama. And I can do it without crying. And that's the thing about it, is I can talk about David pushing me and I can talk about David's purpose without all the anguish because now I feel him present with me. Instead of missing him, I feel him here. If that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. Well, I didn't mean for this to be such an emotional, but it is. And tiring. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever been so tired in my life. That's like my post today. And y'all know me. I will promote anybody. Hey, if y'all why don't y'all donate? Or I will make all kinds of cut videos, Like when Daniel's dog did his arm, it was like, hey, let's get this out there. You know, when A.R. Hayes was needing help or when this one was needing help, I am right there, but I can't do it for myself. I can't make all these videos saying, hey, I need gas money, or hey, I need this, or hey, I need that, you know. And today I finally was like, you know what? I've put in 2,500 miles. I've stayed true to my part of this journey. I've stayed true to what I said I was doing. I have filmed it along the way. I have photographed it along the way. You know, everybody knows it's tried and true. And I was like, I've been camping for a week. If anybody wants to donate to a room with a bathtub, oh, it would be so greatly appreciated. Being out there, yes, yes, exactly. You know, Jeff, I haven't even thought about it that way because I'm going to tell you, even, you know, Texas, and this is no disrespect to Gage or Texas or anybody, Texas Ranger, or anybody in Texas. Texas has some beautiful areas. But there's a lot of Texas that is just like, my God, I'm never getting out of Texas. I may as well just move here. It has ate me up. It has swallowed me. There's no escape. When I do Instacart and get a little frustrated that I can't find something, I feel my grandma, just slow down, take your time. Exactly, Jeff. And see, I think that's what I had been missing in the last 6 years is I had been grieving and not accepting David's death for so long that I couldn't feel him. Does that make sense? I couldn't feel my son. I couldn't feel his presence. I couldn't feel his spirit anymore. And for the first time in 6 years, I feel his spirit. I feel everything about my son surrounding me. And it's a happy, it's a, it, I'm not going to say it's a happiness that he's dead, but it's a happiness that I can finally feel him, if that makes sense. You know, even though he's gone and he's not physically present, I feel like he is present. So, if that makes sense. And Jeff, I posted my Cash App is warning label Nena. It's just the $ warning label Nena. That's my Cash App. My PayPal now is Nena25. And the reason why is because I have 5 grandkids and they call me Nena. So it's Nena, the number 25. And then, of course, my Venmo is warning label Nena. And I guess I need to change my pen pal to warning label Nena. My did I say PayPal or pen pal? I guess I'm thinking about being a pen pal to Coburger. Maybe we could send him a cold burger and fries. Let's make sure that it's vegan. Oh, God. Exactly. I'm hanging out with my son. Exactly. And I don't think I could have put that any other way except I'm hanging out with my son. And like I said, it's the first time that I have felt David's presence. And I think it's because I'm on the right path. I think I've accepted his death. I think I have accepted that even though I cannot physically hug him, that he can emotionally hug me. Wow, I might have to write that one down. That one was pretty good. No cold burgers. I built my job around my kids and family just for it to be destroyed. I'm bitter. Oh, Kylie. See, I understand that, Kylie. I really do because I know I've told y'all about me being a promotional director for a movie theater. Well, in the process of getting that title, I was also an interim manager for the same theater. And I hired my son to work upstairs doing the projectors and everything. And so we had a movie come out, and it was one of the really, really, really famous movies. And I was like, whoever builds that movie, if you do not preview it and you do not make sure that every splice is right and it messes up, you're fired. Sure enough, my son built it, and so the next day I fired him because he was the one that built it and he didn't preview it. So I had to stay true to it. Send BK an Angus burger. An anus burger. Oh, heck, y'all, I've got an order. I love y'all. I love y'all, but I got to work or I'm not going to make it. So I'm going to go DoorDash. I thank y'all so much for your support. I'll probably be on later on tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.